fade away. This is how I feel when you take me to some levels that I've never been. When we dance again, all our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel when you take me to some places that I've never been. When we dance again, that I've never been, that I've never been, that I've never, ever, never, ever, 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 never been.
Walking on the moon. That I've never been. When we dance again, all our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel when you take me to some places that I've never been. When we dance again, that I've never been. Never
Everything we've been through makes us strong enough. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Women's League Season 2, Week 5. We are back at it again, Cthulhu and Pi. Pi, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking, Cthulhu. I actually had like a really jam-packed day, so I was actually, feeling a bit down, and you actually reminded me that there was a way to pick me up. What was it again?
Yeah, so that is the Quantum Energy, some really nicely packed drink just to get you picked up real quickly, very smoothly, and then, well, there's barely any crash really, so it's a good time overall just to get yourself energized right there. But before we get into the matches and all the nitty gritty of tonight's play day, let's take a look as well at the ZQ MVP prize that the teams and the players will be competing as well throughout this whole season. Matter of fact, it is going to be a singular V6 Racer Gaming chair that will be competed over for a single MVP player from a winning team as well. So it's going to be a really nice and really neato prize. But for now, let's take a look at the leaderboard and how it's shaped up throughout already those 5 weeks. So far, we have Elevate, Kingswomen, and Exto leading the charge, and we will be seeing actually Exto playing out today as well later on. So any kind of initial thoughts on how so far things been shaping up and whether maybe at the beginning of the season you were expecting maybe something different here?
Well, I think at the beginning of the season, we did identify that Elevate and Kingswomen were going to be our top two that were battling it out. We didn't know which one would quite come out on top, and we still actually don't know because there's still a few more games left before the end of the round robin. But so far, Elevate is leading the pack with an astounding 6 wins and then 0 losses. So that's quite an unbeatable streak. However, Kingswomen are also the same. They also don't have a single loss, but I do think the round difference is, tying up the differences between first and second. However, EXO Forbidden, I feel like both teams are relatively new to come to the scene, and so it's quite a surprise that EXO has taken third place because they've shown that they're quite good at this game. They've shown they're very consistent with how they play as well, and so it'll be interesting to see how they perform later on today in our first stream game against 71st.
Yeah, I mean, with also the fact that they're only a single point away from Kingswomen, I mean, it's that overtaking Kingswomen and pushing themselves onto the second place is not that as much of an impossible feat to pull off. So I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the round robin season we will be seeing them push themselves further up. But yeah, let's take a look at the first matchup that we will be seeing tonight. It is going to be 71st playing against Exto Gaming Aqua, and well, for 71st, this is going to be the big chance to really push themselves as well on the leaderboard, given that they're not particularly in any of the higher ends of the leaderboard.
Yeah, getting a few rounds or even getting a map against EXO would certainly boost them up the entire ratings, and it's certainly what 71st want to achieve. I don't think they've had quite a good track record in the past with their games, but I do know they have faced off against Kingswomen and Elevate a few times, so that could be the reason why their rankings aren't doing so good at the moment. So to have a sort of redemption chance against third place, it'd be interesting to see how they play it out.
Yeah, and looking at their previous performance, since 71st already have played against Exto, that match resulted in the 7-2 scoreline. So personally for me, I would probably say that any kind of scoreline that is going to be higher than that, I would already consider as even partial success there, or at the very least a good learning experience further down the line. But let's take a look at the rosters that we are going to be seeing play out today. For 71st, this is going to be Maddie, Weasel, Toki, Glazed, Zero Prince, Daddy Maddie, and MSC as the 7th sub player.
Yeah, all these players have shown us quite interesting things over the course of this entire season. I think some of the names that are shooting out is especially Maddie being the team captain. So, all eyes will be pointed to her to see what she can accomplish in terms of, I guess, controlling the team, giving them the correct orders inside the game, just to see what their plays will be like.
Yeah, definitely curious to see whether they were training and prepping for this game. Curious how will they play against their opponents for tonight. That is going to be Exto Gaming. Let's take a look at their roster as well. So far, that roster is Repel, Omnom, Time for Pie, Boshe, Fish Noodle, and Oats as their sub. And so far, yeah, like you mentioned, they have been seeing a pretty neato overall performance. I mean, their only loss was against Kings Women, and I believe that was against Elevate as well. But both of those games were fairly close to a certain degree.
Yeah, I think both games were either like a 7-3 or a 7-4, so it was actually quite close considering all the other teams that have versed against Elevate and Kingswomen who have done worse in terms of like the round difference. So it'd be good to see, EXO slowly creep up the ranks of the ladder and to maybe, if they win today's game, tie or even it out with Kingswomen on the ladder.
Yeah, and let's take a look now at what is going to be the map that we will be seeing them play out in the first round. So far, I mean, we see a pretty interesting ban phase overall. It's Theme Park Oregon that got banned out first, so straight away, you won't get to see your, at this point now, your professionally figured out kind of map pie. But instead it's going to be Villa that is going to be played out between these two teams, and I don't have any specific record whether these two teams have played on this particular map. Brushing over so far, it's been mainly just Clubhouse and Coastline for Exto at the very least, so we haven't seen them really perform a whole lot on some of those kind of wider or more so open area maps, you could say.
Yeah, and Villa is something that's extremely, I guess, defense orientated. Unless you as an attacker, you have a plan, you know how to either attack it vertically or from all the alternate angles that it offers. But some of the sites on that map, you really need to have a vertical presence to be able to achieve something, unless you're actually confident in just running into site and gunning them down. So it'd be good to see how much practice each team has put into attack and defense respectively, and to see if they have any different strategies or counter strategies that they come up with.
Right. Yeah, definitely quite keen to see how things will go and what will be the kind of the end scoreline as well, and how things will continue to shape up further and closer to the end of the round robin season. Probably nearly had a stroke there, I think. But let's quickly have a quick peek as well at the Villa overall, the beautiful building set in Italy. And yeah, I should definitely think that we might have quite a matchup set for us here, where it's going to be actually Exto Gaming that will be attacking here. So they will get to kind of control their general momentum, and yeah, should be a very interesting performance to see, as I said already about probably a million times.
Hey, I mean, you're just interested to see what's gonna happen.
It's interesting. It's all interesting. Lockdown feels got me all interested in literally anything that is outside my computer area.
Well, the first ban is going to be coming out of 71st, and it's going to be the expected one, Thatcher. It's not a lot of games where you do see Thatcher slide by, and if he does not get banned, occasionally we see a Jackal ban, a Maverick ban. So and here we go. Jackal ban is the second. So quite standard in the terms of bans that we've seen so far in this league.
Yeah, I mean, I would have more so expected something across the lines of maybe a Hibana ban or something like that. But yeah, Jackal is also one of those really decent bans as well, given that allows the roam game to be up to a whole new level. And with Mira now banned out, it's going to be just about, that's probably just about as usual of a ban as it can get, even more so than Thatcher at this point, really. And to round it all up, a Pulse ban. Any kind of thoughts on that, maybe?
I'm quite actually intrigued by the Pulse ban. I almost said interested by the Pulse ban. I mean, I actually don't remember seeing a Pulse even get picked the entire season, though there have been a few games that have been off stream that I haven't gotten around to be watching yet, so maybe that's a reason why. But I do understand why a pulse has been banned on this map, especially because, as we were talking about the vertical angles that you could use to secure, the same thing can be done by the defenders, especially if they have a pulse or even Valkyrie cams or any sort of intel. A C4 below your feet can be super dangerous to go up against.
Yeah, the vertical gameplay on Villa is a very scary thing to really come against, especially if you're not really too keen on bringing somebody like an IQ or any vertical operators, because if you're very well versed with the C4s, there's no way the attack is going to run away from all of the explosions, given that C4s in their current state are quite literate portable nuke bombs.
Yeah, I'm actually quite interested to see the castle pick though. It's not every single day that we do get to see that. A lot of the times you see very stereotypical bands with, the Mute, the Cade, the Wumai, the Jaeger, the Smoke. Maybe, yeah, like those are quite standard bans. I do think that sometimes, you would have a Mute just for the deployable, just for the Nitro cell as well, because it is quite good to counter that. However, it's actually interesting to see that all of 71st is actually branching off. Like, they're holding quite a few rooms away from the site, away from the objective. So it looks to be a very expanded presence.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious how things will really work out here, because, well, okay, so that's one castle barricade over into the Aviator. We got one castle barricade to go to close out the Astro. Trying to figure out where is the last castle barricade, but that for now doesn't matter. It seems that it's already quite an entry to be made by Fish Noodle, as well as the remainder of...
I think it got blown by the Twitch, actually.
Okay, well, that is then. I'm just thinking that not a single person in actual statuary is going to be played out, so it's a free real estate to really be played out, and it's all down to Zero Prince to really try to play out that position.
Zero Prince, though, getting that first shot onto Omnom, Fish Noodle trading out Toki, so it becomes an even 4v4. All these trades are happening. Weasel with her headshot onto Fish Noodle, time for by picking up Zero Prince, and that's the bonus gone instantly. However, can they get that final shot down? No, not quite. Weasel is so low, one bullet away from dying, but she's still alive.
Yeah, at the moment, this is turning into a little bit of a hunt for Maddie, as she was the one actually holding on the Astro stairs, but now fairly promptly falling back. But that is exactly what 71st needed, really, for their defensive feels, just to drain out some more time and force XPWL Gaming into a little bit more sort of a bit of a time discomfort there, to force them to make a few hasty decisions. And, well, already it seems like this plan is really working out. I mean, a single minute remaining, and still it's a 3 versus 3, so no player disadvantage, but just as I say that, Repel redeems that issue.
But if we look at the clock, that's actually 2 minutes that 71st have managed to pretty much waste out of Aqua's pocket. They only have 45 seconds left to go back on site. I assume Lizzle still has all her smoke canisters. Yeah, she still does. As long as she still stays alive, it doesn't matter if she's low on health, she'd be able to pump out those canisters, stopping Time for Pi from pushing into Vault that easily. Roche, I assume, is looking to drone into Vault, maybe look for a plant or something. But Time for Pi gets that headshot onto Chris, and it's just Weasel by herself onto site, who gets quickly taken down by Roche. So, they did waste a lot of time, but ultimately, the guns blazing, they still won it. Oh, and it was actually a wallbang.
Yeah, quick cheeky wallbang there for the win for XPWL Gaming. Solid coordination there to recover by XPWL Gaming, but yeah, I definitely like the fact how 71st played out their cards initially in the beginning of the round, albeit probably I would have wanted to see a little bit more presence in the statuary before it was taken care of, but Zero Prince's position pretty much worked out just the right way, probably slightly less than she expected. Maybe she wanted that double kill, but nonetheless, getting rid of Nomad fairly early on was a solid decision.
Yeah, and I feel like if they managed to, if 71st managed to waste some more time, because Rappel actually dropped down to the kitchen to try and flush out any
Attackers
roamers,
need to
and it was
locate and
only
defuse as
because
many
I
bombs
guess
as they can.
a second of being unaware that Rappel was able to get that pick. But if she didn't, that would have been more time that would have been wasted, and that would have been more time of Rappel maybe holding angles or trying to drone out something where Sledge being under the site like that is not as effective as a buff or someone. So she would have had to rotate out. She would have had to waste more time, maybe repelling to another window. So
Bomb
ultimately it
located
could have
by
been the right
attackers.
choice, but unfortunately it wasn't.
Yeah, well,
10 seconds to
I'll have to see
insertion.
whether 71st will be able to make a few adjustments here for their round 2, as it is only just the beginning for the game. Curious about that setup that Toki and Co has set up in the dining, because, well, that probably won't be able to really protect the Kaya charge, but I'm liking the general idea here. Opening up a little bit of a wider angle to be held into the art room, so only one way to find out whether it's going to be successful. It seems that Maddie is actually the first one to respond onto any kind of aggression, and will, after claiming the kill into repel, well, that's already a quick bailout for her.
And that's actually so good for 71st because that is their sledge, that's their soft breacher gone. And 71st do have a castle still up, which means that Fish Noodle will have to use her breaching charges, actually all 3 of them, to take down the castles. 3 castles, 3 breaching charges, she's going to have to use that properly instead of actually using those breaching charges for, I would assume, what she wanted, which is vertical control.
Yeah, vertical would have been extremely good here, but yeah, looking at the castle setups, well, both of the avenues are open, so the only thing that they are missing is the pantry open and the laundry entrance. So they have 2 out of 4 avenues to technically go in through, but those will be heavily contested, plus with Maddie as well still in the realm, same as Toki. Things might definitely be put at quite a severe disadvantage there.
Yeah, it looks like that Bochet is looking for that laundry push. I don't think they know that that wall has been kited, so unless they have some sort of intel denial, maybe with Fish Noodle's Twitch drone going in, I don't think they'll be able to get that open, actually.
Yeah, with all 3 of the Fish Noodles breaching charges well gone, no more of the contention, at the very least for the time being, of the laundry entrance. But at the very least, that is also going to indicate that there's going to be a pretty safe area for Bochet to try to go in for the peak. Although, if Maddie goes in for the swing and pre-fire through through that wall, she could score a very gnarly headshot.
True, a lot of the times actually you do see that rotation in bikes being opened up by the defenders, so I'm quite interested to see why it isn't. Obviously it's for the advantage of the 71st right now, otherwise they could have had 1 man down or 1 woman down. But as it is, Fish Noodle, I think, gets taken. Yeah, Toki takes down Fish Noodle, so that's the Twitch spawn, and that's the roam coming in play. Bochet getting that kill onto Weasel, time for Pie picking off Toki. So now it's 3v2. Now the numbers just keep on dropping. Bochet finishing off plays. They're pushing straight onto side.
And meanwhile, Omnom was unfortunately cut off from that position. Has to bash down the player and has to get the double kill in a matter of 4 seconds, but that is not happening anytime soon. A phenomenal play there from 71st as well. That was a really good just shutdown of just any position or any push for that matter. They managed to funnel Ixto Aqua through those 2 choke points, and well, that's exactly what happened. Completely choked out offense, and a really good hold by, namely, not Omnom, Zero Prince.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Having that sledge being picked off so early on in the round so that there wasn't a lot of castle breach really slowed down the attack, so that they had to resort to punching out the castle barricades in order to get another angle, in which case all the trades had already happened on time and Omnom wasn't really able to be part of that fight until she punched down the castle barricade, which I assume takes like 20 seconds at most, or at minimum.
Yeah, it's definitely, it does take quite a whole lot of time, plus it already it almost serves as a notification for the opposing team, saying that, hey, we're about to make an entry here. Would you like to aim your guns in that very specific direction? And for a 2v2, that is also was a pretty much a perfect indication, saying that, well, if one of them is bashing down a castle barricade, then that means the second one is going to be essentially a 1v2 situation. So easy early frag, pretty much solidified that fact, and we are now back to the library as well.
Quite an interesting site. Don't actually see this site get played out that often. You know, a lot of the teams actually prefer to opt for the statue and trophy, the site which is upstairs right after they normally win the aviator and game. So interesting turn of defender site choices from 71st, but you know, if it works for them, I don't have any complaints about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, simply, if it works, why break it? Oh, repel. Early aggression onto Maddie, but the only thing that she receives is just some damage back and forcing Maddie off that roam and sending her actually just slightly further away. Finally, some punishment is being dealt back onto the Valkyrie of 71st, and well, right now this is now the hunt for the essentially for the Red October, but not for long, as Fish Noodle finally finds that frag.
Yeah, this is an excellent use of Team Gadgets and Team Drones. You know, all those live pings were coming out on Maddie. Maddie last time being the first to get a pick onto Rappel. You know, this time they're coming in with their drones. They're going to mark her out early and they're going to pretty much effectively pinch her out right at the start. So that's a huge pick for Aqua, and it's exactly what they should be looking for.
It's really good to see that the teams are able to adjust kind of on the go the moment that they learn the general patterns of their opponents. This is where kind of the main play does come in. Fish Noodle, meanwhile, is already going in for the push on through the main stairs, but I'm not sure if she's aware about Jaeger's position. There's the pre-fire, and oh, a fantastic trade. Does result in Fish Noodle being down, but at the very least, the headshot was there, so a single pickup would pretty much ensure that it's back to a 5 versus 3.
Don't think members of 71st are aware that Fish Noodle is actually down, which would mean that Time for Pie can get a free res off onto Fish Noodle, which is exactly what happens. So that's still a 5v3 now. Aqua leading the manpower. I was going to say woman power, but that sounds a bit weird.
I mean,
I've never said those words before. So. But yeah,
human power.
Yeah, the operator power.
Operator power, there we go, yeah. We got there at the end. Well, meanwhile, whilst we were talking about whether it's man or human or operator power, it is now down to a 3 versus 4. Frag onto Fish Noodle did come through, and Boucher will be sticking the diffuser plant. While there is a flank in play, Weasel trying to delay some sort of push, but already the plant is down there. Glazed has revealed her position with a single shot, so the sound cue is there. 1v4 situation, and well, Glazed now will have to pull off an amazing clutch if she wants to keep her team in the lead.
Live pings are coming out for Glaze, so she does have an idea of where the team is. She has a headshot onto Time for Pie. Omnom is down, so it's technically a 1v2. However, you know, she doesn't manage to do it. Boucher picking up Glaze. Excellent turn of events for that Thermite.
Yeah, Boucher so far doing some phenomenal amount of work, able to really bring in just the right collective mind to the rest of the team, and well, now we are now looking at a 1-2 scoreline.
Yeah, you know, one of my favorite things to do, because I really like playing Thermite actually, is to, you know, plant the bomb, and once I plant it, I actually go out for frags as well. It just feels so satisfying. Some part of me is like, yes, I'm an excellent support player, but I can also get kills.
Yeah, the old story of Fragmite back when he was the what's it called? He had the frag grenades. It's literally in the name. Come on. Yeah, back when he had the frag grenades, he was an absolute nasty force to be reckoned with, and not a whole lot of ways to really counter him for the most of it. So seeing some people still pop off here is quite a solid tribute to be paid there. But we are back to statutory nonetheless, as Exto Gaming were able to claim the victory on Library. And my question here for you, Pi, is: do you reckon the last round was lost by 71st because of its, I suppose, partial novelty, since not a whole lot of teams do play it, or is it just because that Exto were just one step ahead with the fact that they were able to out the initial roaming?
Attackers are moving out to locate
I
a bomb and
think
defuse
outing Maddie at the very start definitely led to the victory of the attackers. Obviously, I do think the site being a little bit of a novelty also lent to that. But I do also think that, Aqua did have a great attacking push, They managed to identify the roamers, and I would assume they had, flank drones in play as well. And, they droned out the Jaeger, they managed to kill the Jaeger. Sure, they got down, but, that's irrelevant. And speaking of which, Rappel is the first kill onto Taki this time. This is excellent turn of events for Aqua.
Yeah, Aqua definitely kicking things off really good there for themselves, but we already have a bit of a trade coming out. It is Nomad gone, but a phenomenal frag grenade to be thrown over by Fish Noodle. Will be getting rid of Glazed fairly quickly without any more losses, and we are back to the 3 versus 4, but we still have Maddie on roam, so technically only 2 people that are actually holding down the site, which could be a plus and a minus as well, but I have to see. Rappel is actually on the hunt for that Valkyrie, and she wants to find that frag before the actual push for the site will happen, as so is Maddie. She's trying to stay hidden for as long as possible before her position gets revealed, and she just might be able to find the shot onto Rappel if she will be extra sneaky here.
Now, I don't think that drone actually spotted her, because the Rappel threw the drone, and I think it actually landed past the doorway, so they didn't actually get a glimpse of Maddie. So I'm not sure if they know, or if this is a free kill. This is a free kill. Maddie gets that kill onto Rappel. Can she get the second?
Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, Time for Pi does spot the prone peak, so at the very least that's control of dining, and that is going to be a huge one because that is minus pretty much all the utilities. Still at 3v1 as Fish Noodle, phenomenal peak there whilst being boosted all down to Zero Prince, and Zero Prince was known before to be able to find a few really good frags, but this is not going to be the case. It is Fish Noodle to once again find herself a 3k throughout the whole round.
Yeah, and I think this is actually a really smart use of having the Finker boost, because in the past few rounds, we have noticed that Aqua does like to push aggressively with or without the help of drones, and a lot of the times, they'll trade it out or they'll fall very low in terms of health. So having that Finker boost to just give them a plus 25 bit of health is actually really smart on their behalf, which sort of encourages their aggressive behavior as well.
Yeah, it seems that the very aggressive gameplay that Exto so far are bringing in is paying its dividends really here, given that, well, there's not a whole lot of ways for 71st to really respond on that. They still continue to keep on bringing in that kind of 1 to 2 player roams, and both of the times the roamers get outed pretty quickly and separated from each one another, so it's turned into a 1v1 or 1v2s that pretty much put the defenders straight away into a huge disadvantage. So having that ability from Exto is already a huge benefit for themselves, whereas for 71st, I mean, they are making a few adjustments here. It seems that they have some really good strats, and the way how Maddie has been roaming has been bringing a short bit of success rather, but it's just not enough, unfortunately, just yet.
Yeah, a lot of the times when you want to see an effective roam actually happen, you do want it to be carried out in pairs. But, the only thing that I would say to 71st's roam is that when they are roaming, they do need to be closer together, Obviously not in the same room with each other, but to be able to respond almost instantly when one roamer gets pushed, or when one roamer gets droned out. My brain just sort of stuttered for a second. I was like, But yeah, because a lot of the times, you know, the defenders are getting hot droned out with 2 attackers pushing right behind it. So against one person to fend it off, really, it's quite a difficult task. So to be able to have 2 people to rely on, which is exactly what you want as roamers, it's something that 71st definitely want to be considering doing.
Well, so far this is looking like this might just be the play. Fishnoodle completely oblivious to Toki's position, and Toki could have had a really nice drop there, given that now both her and Maddie are getting pretty close, but it seems that EXO are not really, they don't really care about that at all. They just managed to get some vertical angle, and Repel finds a very nice first blood. Fishnoodle to follow up as well onto Maddie, and well, now it's the hunt for Toki as well. Now that EXO know that one of the roamers is down, now Jaeger surely will be somewhere close by, but meanwhile, the rampage continues on the site.
And this is something that's really dangerous about holding the kitchen side. You know, you're so prone to verticals, and if you don't get that kill onto Rappel early on, you know, the soft breacher, you're just going to open up so many sight lines above. Have a 0 Prince with that C4 onto time for Pi. That's the IQ gone, but it's still no Rappel kill, and she's still able to open up more angles, which could actually lead to her death, but no, it doesn't, because 0 Prince flicks up onto Rappel with that headshot. You know, that's the sledge gone.
Funnily enough, there's the push, a 2-player push actually coming out as 0 Prince is about to have her hands full with Toki needing to start making that rotation, needing to get that flank going, because otherwise 0 Prince will get overpowered. A triple kill already, and oh, there's the drop as well. 2v1 all of a sudden, and now it's all in favor of 71st. Now it's all down to Boshe, the fragmite of the squad. She's still on full health, so she just might be able to take a gunfight against Toki. She knows that there's one on the flank, one on side, so general positioning is there to be played out, but needs to be very cautious about where the angles are being held. Already plenty of damage is being taken here. Now, in need of a reload, Toki is just about to start moving in.
But however, it's 0 Prince with that final kill onto Boshe, who manages to finish off the round and net them a win. And this is something that they do need. 71st having a win onto that kitchen site is quite strong for them. You know, regardless of the fact of how many they lost to Rappel through those vertical angles at the start, still being able to clutch that round back is definitely a tremendous feat.
Yeah, gotta give it to 0 Prince so far as well. She was absolutely clinical with that Kai's org, and been able to really shut down pretty much any kind of advancement that EXO were trying to push, to pull off there. But also a bit of a misplay there by EXO, given that they were the ones to kind of go in one by one almost into those gunfights and making it pretty much just fairly even 1v1 gunfights that 0 Prince could have taken. And, well, she sure did, and she sure won all of them. A quad kill at the previous round. So here, this could be the big decider, whether we'll be seeing 71st to even out the round count, or whether XPWL Gaming Aqua will be able to run away with 4 points after the first half.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they do the same hold where they, you know, sort of branch off into Statue. And yes, I do see some reinforcements coming up in Statue, which would indicate that they are holding that far away. So the only downside that they, you know, the reason why they lost the first time they did that is, I suppose, like a very, I would say maybe a little bit of a confused hold, where, you know, they prepped all these rooms so that they could hold it, but they didn't end up holding it. I was a bit curious.
A few unusual setups maybe. Still bringing in once again the castle without really any proper contention. 0 Prince is back into her position, but maybe this time Toki will be the one to assist with the peaks. But I mean, for the time being, if Fishnoodle remembers the general position where 0 Prince was holding, she goes for that pre-fire. That's pretty much it for the Kai player of 71st, and that could be a huge first blood to be taken.
Yeah, you know, that wall that 0 Prince is actually sitting behind, you know, normally you do want that wall reinforced if you do want to be holding some angle, because that's direct line of fire straight on to 0 Prince. And thankfully 0 Prince doesn't die, but she does fall horribly low. You know, she's forced to relocate to a very awkward position that Fishnoodle instantly picks off afterwards.
there it is. Phenomenal, nice headshot as well. Fantastic play by Fish Noodle as well, taking full control of the 90 hallway now. Well, now it's down to Maddie to keep on roaming, and well, she does find a nice shot onto Boshe, the only hard breacher of Exto Gaming Aquen right now. Still a 4v3, but now Exto Gaming are going to be forced to push in through all of the choke points that have been set up.
Yeah, Exo Aqua don't have any. They don't have that thermite up. You know, they can't do the same thing as last round where they open up the vault and they go through there for a default plant. I would assume. You know, this time they have to rely on the soft surfaces or go through the natural doorways that the site actually provides. However, Weasel with that shotgun manages to down Fish Noodle in those last few seconds. It's a very excellent job.
And now that there's no other angle for Weasel to really bother about, she was able to very quickly, very promptly shut that angle down. Funnily enough, it was Weasel before that was able to get rid of Fish Noodle as well. So this is kind of an attempt by Weasel to try to get any kind of opening, but not really. This time, Time for Pi will be able to punish Weasel, and Repel does find another one as a follow-up. All down to Maddie, who is on a roam, so she just might be able to find herself maybe a few flank frags, but apart from that, her only entrance is through the hallway of death at this point.
I believe that deployable shield has been air jabbed off behind it as well, so if she does win that trade against Omnom, she... Oh, well... never mind.
A whole lot of ifs, but unfortunately couldn't really get any closure after that. But still, I mean, a solid effort, but nonetheless, it's a 4-2 scoreline at the end of the first half.
Yeah, that was an excellent attack that was shown for us, and you know, you really want to be getting those defensive rounds advantage when you're on that defense. So to not be able to get those rounds, you know, they did manage to get 2 out of those 6 rounds, but now, you know, for 71st to be able to clutch this back, they really have to show us a strong and tight attack, probably a carefully thought out attack as well at that, to be able to break through the defenses of Exo Gaming.
Still looking a little bit just one step ahead for the most of it, being able to really bring in some good gunfight material, some good utility, being able to play out in a very well-coordinated manner. Whereas for 71st, I mean, they have a very good setup for themselves. They have some good solo players, but it seems that just the general chemistry of the girls is still a little bit lacking, albeit it seems that they have been working on it fairly diligently as well.
Yeah, I noticed that some of the things of 71st on that defense, like especially on that defense roam, was they were a little bit passive, I'd say, regarding their roams. Like, they'd be able to get that intel out that, yes, there is an attacker there, or yes, there's 2 to 3 attackers there, but I didn't see a lot of action regarding it. Like, I didn't really see any C4s, I didn't really see an aggressive push from the roamers. More so, it was a very reactive game where, oh, once they push, oh, once one of my teammate dies, then I'm going to swing and go for the kill. So it's still a valid playstyle, it's just maybe a little bit too passive in my terms.
Yeah, sometimes the passiveness is the weakness rather than the ability to overpower the opponents, and it seems that maybe some extra aggressiveness could be the play here for 71st, but we'll have to see how things now work out for them. Now that they are on the attack, they have to be aggressive if they do want to control the general pacing. On the side of Exto Gaming, though, the setup feels a little bit slightly different this time. A little bit more presence on the roam, where Glazed will have to now contest against 2 players of Exto Gaming's defense, that is Fish Noodle and Time for Pi, but both of them actually feel like just falling back and getting back to the site maybe, just to see if they can deal maybe some damage closer to the site rather than further away.
Yeah, Villa is such a, you know, big map that I guess, you know, things that we saw from 71st when they were on defense, it's so easy for the attackers to drone out Aroma and to be able to pick them off. So it's actually sometimes more advantageous to do a late roam, to hang close to site for the time being. But once the round develops, once that pressure onto site actually develops, for the roamers to split off and actually maybe get a C4 or maybe get like a flank, in which you can see now, time for Pi with that kill onto Toki, first kill of the round.
Yeah, right now, Zero Prince is feeling a little bit cornered here. And she does hear a few footsteps. She is expecting some roam to be done, but that ACOG is going to be blocking the sideline, and well, there it is. Already a double kill as Boshi as well does find a very nice shot into the study room, and that does leave all up to Maddie and Glazed to try to get some traction for themselves, but in a 2v5, things are certainly not looking too favorable there for themselves.
This is the passiveness that I was talking about that I had second doubts about. When one teammate dies, you can't really be saying with anymore. You just have to push. Otherwise, your teammate just dies for no reason. Maddie gets downed. It's just a 1v5 for Glazed at this point, because I don't doubt that Maddie's going to be able to get finished up quite quickly. Yep, with that C4.
Yeah, and right now, all that she can really pray for is just a few exit frags just to get the stats up, but at that point, certainly not looking like even that is going to happen. And Omnom is the one that is going to shut down the round. A flawless one this time in round number 7 for Exto, as they are getting all the way closer now to the victory.
Yeah, that was still an excellent defense. Coming out of Aqua, they pretty much did everything perfectly. They managed to roam together. They managed to trade off picks. Well, I say trade off by, alternating kills, I guess. No one actually did die, which in itself is still a great feat by itself, yeah.
Yeah, having the ability to pretty much go flawless on the round is also, I would imagine, it would put quite a bit of a strain onto the squad as well, as it's just, imagine being pretty much just flawless without any ability to find a single frag, and looking just at the general kind of stats, having 2 players on only 2 frags and already 6 and 7 deaths, that would also put maybe a little bit of that kind of, a moral strain on the squad as well.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I do think that definitely, Sunny Fast need to be more aggressive with this week. Even if they're maybe not as confident with their aim or not as confident with their intel in that exact moment, I believe that, a small portion of success in Siege is up to instinct as well. When you hear those gunshots coming from your left, you just gotta fire and you gotta hope. Because especially when your numbers are down, when you're in like a 2v5 or even a 1v5 at that point, what do you have to lose?
Good point as well, yeah. Well, we'll have to see how things will unveil here in round number 8. That Exto Gaming Aqua are only 2 rounds away from claiming the victory here on Villa, which could boost them up on the leaderboard even further up, but for the time being, on statutory hold.
I'm quite curious to see no breach denial on Aqua's side. No Cade, no Mute, no Bandit. So, a bit interested about that, I guess.
Yeah, I would imagine that at this point, Exto Gaming may be getting a little bit maybe too confident about their play. Maybe they're confident in their C4 game, given that both Time for Pi and Omnom are on the roam technically. Well, not Omnom, she's back to the side, but Time for Pi is most definitely. And she has the ability to deny, given as well that the fact that Fish Noodle is roaming down below as well. So all that they need to really get and take care of is Toki and Zero Prince, and probably out of those 2, Zero Prince is going to be the main adversary for them to fight against.
Yeah, definitely having those Nomad air jabs to be able to cut off any defenders is quite a handy thing. However, Fish Noodle gets that initial frag onto Zero Prince, Toki onto Fish Noodle, but Time for Pi trading out Toki, and that's all the bottom floor presence.
And now that the presence is gone, the callouts will be starting to happen, and that's when the C4 will be coming into play. Time for Pi now has the knowledge where to pre-place the C4, and essentially we'll be waiting for the call out for her from her teammates to blow up the charge, but it seems that for now she's in fairly withdrawn. Onside though, it is a 3 versus 3 situation with most of the defense being fairly separated apart from Repel and Omnom, whereas Bochet is the one that will need to hold on her own behind the ballistic shield here.
Yeah, that Sophia will, Maddie will need to be able to part with some of her concussive blast to be able to take down that deployable shield. However, it is Omnom who swings and gets that kill onto Maddie. That deployable shield is still going to be staying up. Glazed falls desperately low, one bullet away from dying. Things aren't looking good for 71st in this moment.
Yeah, well, the moment Glazed has fallen, pretty much it's all down to Weasel, and Weasel is, not too sure what is happening with Weasel, as she is looking a little bit lost there, and well, straight away for that, Time for Pi is going to be punishing her for that very thing, and match point earned by Exto Aqua, and well, only a single round till we will be seeing a swift turnaround.
I'm not sure, maybe she was getting spotted and she was trying to find the Valk cam. I'm not 100%, yeah. It was a interesting angle to look at.
Yeah, a few particularly odd angles that could have been there, but either way, I'll have to see. Maybe we'll be seeing 71st maybe try to get themselves a bit of a comeback there, but ultimately, with the way how things been going, with the way how Exto been defending, things are certainly not looking all too pretty here for 71st, but maybe, just maybe, some sort of comeback could be, or some sort of unusual play could be brought on board. And looking at their lineup, probably the only difference from both sides is really just Fish Noodle's decision to bring in a Doc rather than what I believe was a Jaeger before.
And it could indicate a little bit of cockiness out from Aqua Gaming side, maybe looking to potentially spawn peek or get some aggressive angles in, possibly, just because they don't have those Jaeger ADSs anymore, which means that they can't afford to play it out through the grenades.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, they still have the Wumai charges at the very least, so they will be able to maybe protect themselves from a few of the frag grenades of the Sledge of Glazed, maybe a few flashbangs, but all that is still yet remain to be seen, because for the time being, it seems like a mainly top floor hold with Fish Noodle actually holding an angle. Oh, onto that Repel, and oh, plentiful amount of damage being dealt to Weasel, but just not enough to take her down.
Yeah, that was so close to finishing off Weasel, and that would have been the worst. That would have been the Thermite being the first death, which is definitely not something you want to be seeing. So hopefully this doesn't happen again. They do know that Fish Noodle has been peeking out of that window, but Fish Noodle gets that headshot onto Glaze. She doesn't care. She's going to repeat that.
I was pretty certain that was a headshot as well from Glazed onto Fish Noodle, but apparently not, as the Doc player is still standing and fully healthy now thanks to the Stim pistol. But yeah, that is not a good start here for 71st. Losing your Sledge, using your frag grenades as well, that is not a solid beginning, and same goes for Maddie as well. Losing her out, she was probably one of the bigger assets for 71st, but it seems that, well, she won't be playing in this round anymore, and we are back to a 3 versus 5 with all of the Exto Aqua players now back to full 100% health.
Yeah, and this is something I didn't even think of, Fish Noodle using those Doc stims to pretty much reward Aqua's aggressive playstyle, something that we seen when they were on attack, that they used a Finker adrenaline boost to pretty much supplement their aggressive behavior. And Time of Pi swings and gets that headshot onto Zero Prince, and this is all looking downhill for 71st. They don't have that top 4 control. They do have 2 impactful operators left, though, that Nomad and that Thermite are 2 great support operators that with the right amount of drone, with the right amount of plays, maybe they could tie off some kills.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they will be able to. The fact that they have kind of separated themselves could be certainly a bit of an issue, but oh, already a turn down by Fish Noodle, and well, That's not a good beginning. We'll be running into Toki. Finally, will be punished, though, after her little bit of extra aggressiveness. And, well, right now, she's just about to be all over Red Rover. But, oh, there's the swing. Time for Pi is the one to close out the round. And that is a GG. A 7-2 scoreline, a repetition of the previous matchup of Exto Gaming and 71st.
That was a strong start coming out of, the first few rounds, with 71st actually taking a few, close rounds away from Aqua. So it would have been nice to see another outcome. However, Aqua really showed their strong attack and their strong defense, and Fishnu and Time for Pi both with those double digits in those frags, really showing their impact on the team.
Yeah, phenomenal play. 2 of the Exto players being on the double digits as well. Certainly looking quite nice there. But yeah, this is it for the first map, for the first matchup as well. But I do believe we still have one more map and one more match to be played out. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty quick, pretty swift, rather, also performance by Exto Gaming to take another set of points as well.
Yeah, and it is something that we did call at the start of the round. We did say that the last time they faced off, it was a 7-2 as well. And for 71st to, possibly not win, but take a few rounds away would still be considered a win in their books. So, maybe this shows that 71st do need to work on some of their mistakes, maybe some of their roam game, maybe some of their aggressive plays and their droning. But overall, still high hopes for 71st, because once again, this isn't the end of the round robin. There are still a few more games to continue on for.
Yeah, still plenty of games to really play out, and plenty of times for 71st to really get back up and running for their points. But for the time being, whilst we are setting up for the second game, don't go too far away, as we are going to go on a short break, and we will see you in just a short few minutes.
think that you should come back home.
I've been thinking about you lately, and all the places that you could take me. Why you so shy? You got me going wild. 'Cause I've been saying that you got it, baby, give it to me. See my lightning, you gonna feel my thunder. Show me how you do it, come on baby, say it louder. Got you on my mind now, let me see your style. I'm on my way tonight. Oh, yeah, yeah. 'Cause I think about you, you. 'Cause I think about what I think about you. I wanted to make you see that you were the one for me, but there was enough 'cause you're up and down and then everything's the same. Baby, how do I make you listen? Don't wanna be through 'cause I wanna put you, baby, you and me tonight.
Now it's all down to Maddie with the 20 seconds to try to clutch out in a 1v2.
She does still have the diffuser in her pocket alongside
15 seconds left.
grenade. They rolled one edge and she could get a
Oh no.
10 seconds left.
She's in a very tough position right now, but no, she's gonna get that final shot to it. Picks off Maddie, and that's another round for X.
Leia will be able to open up there onto Daddy Maddie, so that is no more of mine, but I believe his job has been pretty much already done.
Yeah, at this point in the game, we would expect that
Attackers
Liverpool
bomb
line
diffuser has been dropped. Attackers have
How about-
recovered their diffuser.
Yeah, okay, yep, that drone's on it.
15 seconds to go.
Oh.
That is a horror
shotgun. That's
story.
not something you want to face against, especially when you're helpless like that, just playing the.
With a very ballsy manner, with the lance out instead. Oh, that does connect. That does connect. That pixel. Yoshi, that's dirty.
Yeah, this is why Carly is such a
15 seconds left.
She's got that sniper stroke to push them along and
10 seconds to go.
Great fucking very good.
5 seconds to go.
Yoshi,
Attackers drop
to
to
pick up Carly, to the gunfight, Blaze headshot on
Operators
Chica.
have run out
Our
of time.
time runs out once again. And that's match. Yeah, that's match for the 71st.
Mint is trying to get into a gunfight though in the freezer, and that is what seems to be the main kind of avenue for pressure here.
Oh.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there.
I almost thought Mint was going to get a headshot, but instead Brunek headshots her back. 4 walkabouts, picking up Cheeseburger, but that wasn't a death in vain. Cheeseburger was able to get that kill onto Hotto.
It will be kind of alerting the attackers that, hey, there's a position there. Oh, I believe she was seen as well, and some pre-fires could be coming through, but no. Yoshi once again will be denied an ace, and this time by the hands of Mint for the second time, but alas, it's a flawless round in favor of Queen Bees. That's another frag, and all down to Hard Explodes. She is able to find the frag, so a 1v2 situation. No diffuser plan will be started as Hard Explodes does find the drop as well. That's a triple kill. Can she clutch it out as well? 3 seconds remaining. Small Chaser needs to go in for the push. She needs to get the frag, but no, she will be running out of time as well. And Enix, a flawless game here. Alright, welcome back to yet another game of Week 5, Season 2, Cthulhu and Pi still on the microphone. Pi, we've so far seen a pretty dominant game of XTEL Gaming versus... brain blanking out, 71st, there we go. Any kind of thoughts about that matchup as we are about to prep for our second one?
I mean, I think the first few rounds, really, no one could say what the outcome was, but obviously, as the rounds progressed into attack and defense, EXO really showed a strong understanding of what successful defenders should be doing and what successful attackers how they should be playing. So I feel like for teams who are struggling to maybe get understanding of maybe how to hot drone, because I do understand it's quite a difficult thing to grasp, to have members to drone and for the entry people to actually trust those drones as well. That's quite difficult to understand. But to have that down pat is something that EXO actually showed us a lot of times when they were roam clearing. So it really is something good to learn of.
Yeah. The chemistry is definitely still there under question for 71st, albeit, they seeming to be making a few improvements here and there, but there's still quite a fair bit of ways to improve the gameplay overall. But for the time being, let's take a look at the second matchup that we will be seeing tonight. It is Forbidden versus Queen Bees, and, statistically, things are certainly not looking too favorably here for Queen Bees, but maybe we could be seeing something different here, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think Queen Bees has actually won a single game yet so far, but this could always be the game where things change up. Queen Bees have versed Forbidden in the past. Unfortunately, it was 7-0, Forbidden taking the win. But, having this rematch up, don't know what could happen. Maybe Queen Bees have been looking over their VODs, especially their gameplay against Forbidden, and maybe they've spotted some key things to work on.
Yeah, could definitely be the case. I mean, they were able to also draw out between themselves and Enix. As well as that, they did take quite a close scoreline against 71st, which was a 7-4. So a few of their good days that they have played out brought them some partial success. But let's take a look at the rosters as well that will be playing for tonight. For Forbidden, it will be Mons, Weird One, Soy, Diana, Finite Just, Chrissy, and Minxie, as well as their coach. Any kind of thoughts on that one?
Well, I think, Forbidden is a team that has showed us a lot of good strategy, a lot of great defenses, and they certainly don't lack any strong fragging potential with Soy and Diana normally going on those entry picks. So I think that Forbidden do have quite a strong roster. So for Queen Bees to be able to effectively go up against that, they have to be on top of their droning, on top of their flank watchers.
Yeah, they Forbidden have proven that they have a good ability to kind of have the coordination to get themselves to essentially from point A to point B, and it's certainly a solid beginning. But let's take a look at Queen Bees as well, as we are going to be seeing Lucky Crystal, Brunek, Cozy Aries, Gorn Walkabouts, Hotto, Chaza, X-Brett, and Bonzi. And any kind of thoughts on them?
Well, definitely underdogs in this game against Forbidden, but, you can't count them out just quite yet without watching how they play in this next map. So, a lot of members of Queen Bees have shown us they do have the potential. It's just all up to putting in the hours, putting in that awareness and that, I suppose, aggressiveness in their plays that could really change the outlook of this game.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how things will really work out for them here. But let's also, before we get into the game, let's take a look at the maps that we are going to be seeing here. It is going to be Coastline, I believe, that will be played out. Slight difference in the map bands here, but according to the notes at the very least, it will be Coastline that will be played out. Slightly more linear of a map comparative to what we saw on Villa. And, let's take a look as well at the sunny coast of Ibiza, as we are going to be getting right in.
I feel like every time we go into a map, I'm always like to you, Cthulhu, do you know where this map is? I'm so bad at geography in general. I guess this translates to game geography as well.
That's just more so probably more so translates to me just being sitting bored in the menu and just reading lore and geography stuff about literally every map and every operator at this point. But I mean, it's just something, an extra fun fact, I suppose, just for each and every one of the maps, one of the games.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a good, little bit of trivia to have.
Albeit, I probably won't be able to get any job with that kind of knowledge for the trivia as well. So what are your special kind of what is your best knowledge? Oh yeah, I know all the lore about Rainbow Six Siege maps and operators.
Ah yes, hired.
Yes, hired. Yes, straight away. No more interviews. All of our previous questions completely out and thrown into the window.
Interesting enough, to see that first bat of Buck coming out, Coastline is, as I would like to say, quite a frag-heavy map where some of the sites do require a little bit of vertical presence, but a lot of it is just up to flank watch and actually just getting those frags instantly down pat. So to instantly deny that vertical, or the vast majority of verticalness that you would see, is quite an interesting ban out from Forbidden, but no surprise, seeing as they are starting off on defense.
Yeah, Forbidden definitely want to see that bug out of the way. So the only play it would be, we'll get to that ban in a moment. They would want to see the only soft breach to happen to only be up close and personal, like Sledge, like those breaching charges. But that Legion ban, I heard you giggle about it, and I do believe you mentioned it prior to us going live with the microphone. So do tell us about the history behind that Legion, or rather, why would ban it?
Well, not to call anyone out, but I do know that Lucky Crystal may be somewhat of a Legion main, I would say. Yeah, and to have such a blatant target ban is, I say, distressing, you know? It's not something you want to be seeing.
Yeah, quite an unfortunate one there for Lucky Crystal, albeit she will probably feel that ban goes to the second half. But for the time being, I mean, looking at the lineup of the attack as well, as it appears that I have lost the controller looking at the general lineup of the offense, any kind of thoughts there, maybe?
Well, you know, I did say that Coastline is such a frag-heavy map with a little bit of vertical play. I am not that surprised to not see like a Thermite, a Habana, or a Maverick, or some sort of hard breacher, purely because there's very little need for it. A lot of the times, you know, just having soft breaches is more than enough to go onto a site. Obviously, still having a hard breacher is never a bad idea, but you know, not having it isn't really the end of the world either.
Yeah, Coastline is one of those very few rare maps where hard breaching is kind of more so of just a nice bonus sometimes rather than a necessity comparative to most of the other maps. So having a little bit more leeway with some of the rather more creative operator picks, certainly it's a good beginning. Talking about some creative freedom, Diana might actually go for a little bit of a run out, or at the very least a peek out, as she might just be able to find it. She does. That's Brunek out of the equation, and that is the IQ, the main counter to the Vigil as well.
This is actually a really strong veranda that Diana is holding in Hall of Fame. You know, the only really successful ways to flush her out there is to actually go from the other side of the building, because if you're repelling like that, Diana's just going to get a double kill onto you, you know? That's the Ying, that's the IQ out of the fight in the first round. You need to be opening up that hatch into the bathroom. You need to be asserting different types of pressure onto Diana. Otherwise, she's just going to be free picking that. You know, she gets a little cocky, you know, pays for her trouble. Small Chaz are picking off Diana. Ends of her reign.
Yeah, so I mean, a trade of a Vigil for your IQ and Ying, that is more than enough of a trade, which is certainly going to be putting quite a strain utility-wise onto Queen Bees. But for Forbidden, this is a solid beginning. Now, the next contention is going to be between Haro and Soy, and Soy will be going down to a very nice reaction speed of Haro, as well as that LMG. Oh, that LMG is quite something.
Oh yeah, especially with that finger boost where it shoots faster and has less recoil. It's definitely not something to laugh at, you know?
Not at all. Next contender, though, will be Finite. She will try to gain control of that window once again with the ACOG, as well as that the integrally suppressed MP5, which should not generate any kind of traces as well. So already some advantage here, range-wise, but no damage and no accuracy there, at least just yet. For the time being, Queen Bees are draining out their time, and really not a whole lot of advancement has been made, apart from the fact that Golden Walkabouts is about to maybe try to go in for the push from up above and try to apply pressure, but that is seeming unlikely, as Chaz is the one that is going to be going for the push here.
Yeah, one downside of Brunek falling down so early is that the IQ isn't able to spot out any potential echo drones or any Valkyrie cameras, or, you know, obviously one tasing them in the back of their necks. It's not something you want to be happening when you're losing the intel battle like that. When your Mons swings out, gets that double kill onto Golden Walkabouts and Chazza, finishes off the round.
Yeah, and just like that,
Yeah.
first round to go into the hands of Forbidden. So I liked what I saw from Forbidden at the beginning of the round. Middle of the round, they probably went a little bit maybe overzealous on a few picks, maybe got a little bit too careless about some of their picks. Primarily Soy's decision to just white peek right onto that window, even though she didn't have the ACOG there. But nonetheless, still a win is a win. Very good hold by the remainder of the Forbidden Gaming, and well, now we are going to go into Hookah Lounge, which is a bit more... Well, actually, matter of fact, both Kitchen and Hookah Lounge are probably the most convenient two sides to
Defenders,
hold for
protect your
defense,
bombs from being
albeit we
defused by
saw a
attackers.
fair few times when the attack was able to pop both of those sites open like it was pretty much nothing.
I do think a lot of the time, teams going for that kitchen hold instead of the default hooker and pool, it really throws a lot of the attackers off by surprise because, a lot of the times when you're in competitive or ranked play, teams do default to a hooker pool hold first. So to bring the correct attacker lineup for that side, but to not see it in that side is a little bit of a
10 seconds
surprise,
to
I
insertion.
guess, and it would change how you attack it. But as it is, I don't really see a difference in the attacker lineup, so maybe that's not the case.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
We'll have to see. Haro being probably the only changer in the lineup, bringing in a gridlock this time, should be able to at the very least cut off or at least slow down some of the flanks if she will be able to stay alive for that long before any kind of cheeky spawn peaks or runouts. That could be done by the Forbidden Gaming lineup. Actually, Diana could deal quite a huge amount of damage if she will keep on using. She does see the sledge, and that is the information that is coming out, but just not enough for her to figure out when and where to go in for the peak.
Yeah, I did see that door in service was prepped, so I think she was actually waiting for someone to be closer before they shut out the default camera, so she could actually go for a run out, I think. So, was a death that was prevented, so good job.
And I do believe Gone Walkabouts and Chaza were somewhat prepared that there could have been a run out, or at the very least had the firefight capability to really take it to Diana. But for the time being, I mean, it is still going to be a fairly calm beginning to the round. No runouts, no spawn peaks, none of that. It's just going to be a fairly standardized push. Haro is going to try to once again go and peek Soy to try to maybe out one of the roamers. There are currently two at the ground floor
A bomb has
and
been located.
one in the luggage area on the second floor. So only two players are actually holding down the site, and that could really turn into a disaster once the swing onto the side could really come out.
I do want to say, this is times where the buck ban is actually going into Forbidden's advantage, where Weird One is actually sitting if a buck did manage to come in and breach into Blue Bar, Sunrise Bar. This would have been so bad for Weird One. She would have had pretty much her unsuspecting body being shot at while she was on the cameras. I do understand why this ban came in place.
Yeah, it's fairly understandable why did Forbidden not want to have a buck to play against, given that his ability to play very distanced. Oh my god, soft breaching. There we go. Mind blanks. Thank you. Need more of that quantum energy sometime soon. But for the time being, Weird One's position has been drawn down
Drop the diffuser.
pretty well, so there's full understanding of where is the positioning of the Maestro, so at the very least there's that, but the time is running low actually, only now that the frags are starting to come out. 4v2 as there's a triple kill with the C4 by Soy, and now it's all down to the 2-1 player of Queen Bees, and all of a sudden that has all been turned around in a matter of just a single explosion.
Oh my gosh, that C4 was actually beautiful. They must have had a Maestro cam or a Valkyrie cam already in that room. They must have been like to Soy, they're going in from hookah door. You need to set off that C4 now. And somehow, inexplicably, 3 bodies were caught in that explosion.
Just like that, yeah. It seems that Forbidden Gaming coming in quite prepared for this match. They knew exactly what to ban, where exactly to pick, and well, Soy's position, the fact that she wasn't really drawn out, she wasn't really forced out of that Sunrise position, pretty much granted that phenomenal win in the round, and well, that is a 2-0 already.
Interesting 6-pick coming out from Weird One. That pulse into that Jaeger. I didn't see any counter 6-picks out from Queen Bees. Maybe they
Defenders,
knew
protect
that
your
they
bombs
weren't
from
going to
being
commit
defused by
onto
attackers.
that pulse pick, but it would have been nice to see maybe an IQ come out on Queen Bee's side. But nevertheless, still a strong lineup from Queen Bees. Having that Jackal to prevent any really aggressive roams out from Forbidden's side could turn advantageous for them.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you on this one. A Jackal pick certainly should make things a whole lot easier for Queen Bees to at least conduct some form of roam clear, albeit I'm still not fully sold on the roam clearing just because we haven't seen really much of it, and the attempt that was made left Small Chazza and Diana only on a sliver of health, but no frag from either one of the parties, so maybe here we are going to be seeing some changes to the approach. At the time, though, for the time being, we are seeing a 3-player spawn on northwest, one on southwest, and one to the east as Golden Walkabouts attempted to go for, I believe, a single just pistol one-tap.
I just want to point out that briefly, Diana, Vid1, and Fine are all like in a very close, crowded area for a long period of time. It was a bit amusing. I thought they would all go for a run-out or something. But I think they were just setting up their utility all around Diana. I see at least 2 ADSs, 1 mute jammer. 3 ADSs, 1 mute jammer. That's a lot of utility to provide for Diana. No grenades are actually going to be going past any of that. Unfortunately, Queen Bees did not take a Twitch drone, which could have, in this case, been very effective. Instead, Golden Walkabouts, you're going to need to burn more than just 1 Ash charge to break through these 3 ADSs.
Yeah, Haro right now as well, lacking the frag grenades nonetheless as well. Not going to be having a whole lot of fun times here. An attempt at the play will be coming out, and well, it's Soy with yet another pre-play C4 will be finding the frag, but at the very least, finally, Lucky Crystal is able to find some redemption onto Finite. So, a Jackal for a mute, questionable trade there, given that, yeah, you've gotten rid of one of the C4s, and I believe that is just about all it, yeah. So, at the very least there's that, but all the utility has been already used up and extinguished, and Lucky Crystal already taking quite a substantial amount of punishment.
The smart play for Lucky Crystal right now would be to rotate actually downstairs to be able to clear out all those ADSs if they do want to breach to that. However, Golden Walkabouts gets caught with her pants down on that breaching charge. Weird One gets a double kill, finishing it off with Lucky Crystal.
Yeah, just like that, it's once again, it's Small Chazza to try to clutch it out, but no avail as Diana is the one to go just for an aggressive swing and claim the route number 3 into Forbidden's hands once again, as it looks like we might just be seeing a repetition of the previous scoreline between Queen Bees and Forbidden, but it's only 4 rounds, well, technically 3 rounds in, with 4th just coming up, and well, at the moment, the defense of Forbidden is certainly preventing Queen Bees from taking any kind of advantage points-wise or player count-wise.
Yeah, taking that IQ win, you really need to be able to spot out any pre-placed C4s or even the Valve cameras that could lead to a C4 kill. Seeing as the majority of the deaths happening on Queen Bee's side have actually been from C4s, C4s from Soy nonetheless. So, and in this case, having an IQ to be able to spot out not only the Valkyrie cameras, but also the Echo cameras, which could be extremely beneficial during those last seconds when you're trying to get the bomb down, and instead there's an Echo drone that's stopping you from doing that.
Droning has been somewhat of a fairly frequently used thing by Queen Bees, but yeah, it seems that Forbidden were able to deny them pretty quickly, especially on some of the drone positioning. Things are certainly not working out. Already another drone has been lost out, and that is a thing that not a whole lot of teams seem to have been looking at, is their general drone economy, where in a game where information is such a crucial thing, having those drones lost out that early without giving any initial information on, for example, Diana's run out, on, for example, the Echo drone's position, or where Monza's ADSs could be, certainly is going to put a strain on any further actions that Queen Bees could be really bringing out for themselves, and further down the line could potentially result in yet another round to be lost out.
Diana going for an
exposed.
extended run out this time onto Otto in those first 20 seconds, so it's still an entirely legal run out. This is the aggression that we're talking about coming out of Forbidden, you know. This is something that you can definitely abuse when you're a defender, to be able to spring a surprise attack onto the attackers when they're just coming out of spawn, you know, when they think that they're safe. But Dawn Walkabouts with that grenade onto Weird One, perfectly timed, picks off that Maestro, which is an excellent first pick.
Weird One was trying to open up the hole to rotate back, but it seems that the grenade was a little bit faster there. Meanwhile, off-screen, Diana took quite a fair bit of damage from repelling. I believe that is, that is Gone Walkabouts, who's also on a slither of health. And this is certainly not going to be putting either one of the teams on any kind of advantage, but at the very same time, if Diana will cop even a single bullet, I believe she will still end up going down there, which could be one of the first solutions that Queen Bees could really attempt to push for, given that Diana was one of the leaders in the kills and she was the one being the main aggressor as well.
Yeah, you know, being on such low amounts of health would definitely slow down any defender you're trying to look for a run out. However, speaking of this, she just gets a headshot onto Bruna. You know, Mons being her counter roam as well, able to help Diana out where Diana can't have eyes, or doesn't have eyes. You're not allowed to have eyes here.
No eyes, remember.
Been located.
I'm talking about no eyes right now. It seems that both Finite and Small Chowser just can't seem to find each one another to try to get some kind of engagement going. Lucky Crystal, meanwhile, is trying to get some kind of vertical play, but promptly falling back to rendezvous with her teammate. Tried to go in for the push, but it's Soy to have the advantageous angle, and well, now it's all down to Small Chowser to try to clutch this out. Once again, the poor lady just can't get a break whatsoever. That's another run out. Diana is the one to close out. Round number 4. We are seeing a 4-round streak here for Forbidden Gaming.
And this is the aggression that Forbidden are known for. You know, you really need to have some sort of flank drone setup, some sort of gridlock denial. I do know that gridlock died very early on in the round, but you know, you need to have something to stop their runouts, whether it be claymores even. You have to stop this, and you need to be able to drone out Diana. I know she's on a vigil, which normally means that you wouldn't actually be able to spot her out if she's using her gadget on a drone, but you can still have those little, you know, vigil blips on your drone, I guess. I'm not sure how to describe it, where you would know a vigil is close by. And seeing as Diana has actually run out of Hall of Fame quite a few times at this point, you would think that Queen Bees have a strategy to counteract it.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Yeah, well, have to see how and whether there will be any adjustments made on the side of Queen Bees as well. But for the time being, round number 5, Queen Bees only have 2 more chances to give themselves any amount of points whilst being on offense, because otherwise they are going to be looking at a very scary picture of when they're going to be transitioning into second half, where they just might be sitting at a 6-0 scoreline, and well, with their defense they would have to pull essentially a flawless half. And so far this is not particularly looking too well, but
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
we've seen a few comeback attempts, so maybe this is where Queen Bees could really activate in the moment they are going to get onto defense.
Yeah, I feel like Queen Bees would definitely have a strong advantage if Forbidden get, I'd say, cocky. You know, with all these runouts that they've been doing, I think they've been purely mostly on sound rather than intel. So if they're able to fake something out, if they're able to capitalize on this aggression and, you know, to bait it out essentially, and to get some early kills either onto Diana or Mons even, this could swing it the other way.
Yeah, the moment they start figuring out the general pace, the general kind of idea and timing when the runouts start coming out and under which circumstances, I feel that Queen Bees could really bring it to Forbidden and pretty much take them out pretty quickly. Finite, you can do it. You can place you can place that plate wherever you need it. But while she's waffling on about that, there is a potential vertical peek through the window, which will be seeing a few pre-fires by Finite, just to make sure that they don't get overly too confident on that window. And well, for now it's just going to be a bit of a stalemate for the time being.
It looks to be sort of a hooker push. Soy, that C4 coming in once again. They need to flush her out. They need to be able to flush out Sunrise Bar before they can push in. Otherwise, someone's going to die into that C4. So he's looking for a run out, I think. She's looking at her Valk cams for some intel. But you really need to be able to flush out any sort of gadgets from below, so you don't just lose a member like that, And that was your Capital. The Capital with the smoke bolts and the fire grenades that could have been able to flush Weird One out from behind that bench. But no, unfortunately, she is actually dead.
Yeah, meanwhile, Brunek is attempting to get rid of Finite. There is a decent amount of damage that has been already dealt, and well, the smoke grenade should at the very least mask the approach and advance, as well. There's an attempt to start planting. Already damage being dealt, but Weird One is taking so much damage by the smoke grenade, and instead it's Diana that actually team kills the players. But there's a double kill as well. Once again, Diana just going absolutely huge here for her team and redeeming herself after team killing poor Maestro. And well, now it's a 1v2 situation, which could actually be played very well by going walkabouts, but with 15 seconds left to go, she needs to go in for the frags, and she needs to be really aggressive about them. Goes in for the swing. The smoke grenade is there preventing any sightlines, and Mons is the one to get the upper hand. It is round number 5 to be claimed by Forbid.
Yeah, it's quite rare that you actually see a double kill from the smoke canisters. So, regardless if it was a TK or not, a double kill is a double kill.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking, it's so strange that Weird One's taking, this minute amount of damage constantly when she's trying to be on her drone. I was like, I don't really know what attacker could be causing that.
Yeah, that's kind of a similar thing that was on my mind as well, given that, well, Capital is dead. How is the Maestro taking so much damage? But it turns out that it's a small grenade. Poor man was just choking to death from that.
Just casually.
I'm guessing tear gas. Just casually, yeah, just inhaling the gas. Not a biggie. I'm just, and funnily enough, she kept on blasting the Jackal with the lasers as well. Whilst that is not a single care was given at that point. Just, yeah, it's just a flesh wound.
I think if I was the Maestro in that case, I definitely would have continued blasting you. You see 2 juicy targets in front of you, one potentially which you could get a kill through your Maestro cameras. You gotta just commit and go for it.
Yeah, gotta commit, yeah. but nonetheless, we are gonna be seeing a win from Forbidden on that round. But for round number 6, the final one before we go in for the swap on the sides, it is going to be a Blue Bar and Sunrise to be defended by Forbidden. And looking at their lineup, it seems just about similar to what we saw before. Another set of ADSs will be brought on board, and Weird One is going to be putting in the final ADS device. So only missing out on the mute jammer, but mute won't be present here, as instead we are seeing the decision to bring in the Echo, and with Soy to continue playing on Valkyrie.
Yeah, this is a tremendous amount of intel that Forbidden are actually bringing in. Those cameras from Soy on Valkyrie, those cameras with Finite on that Echo, as well as Mons on that Maestro. That's so much visual intel that Forbidden can be gaining, almost as much as I'd say the attackers with their attacking drones. So Forbidden have got to use this information wisely to be able to capitalize properly on this.
Well, they already were able to force out Diana from her position for just a few moments. Another fire grenade to come out, but Diana, phenomenal swing there to get rid of Lucky Crystal. And well, that is already a solid beginning. Mons to find another one onto Brunek as well. That is the Jackal off board. Hotto needs to go in for that push, for that swing. The moment those buffs of Finka, those nano machines start working their job, but alas, we won't be seeing any kind of advancement. And for the time being, Queen Bees are playing a very passive game here. which so far is only paying for Queen Bees really here.
Warning shots do come out on cool buys. However, ultimately it is Golden Walkabouts that gets down. However, a very well-timed Finker boost comes out from Hotto, which instantly reses Golden Walkabouts. So that's still an even 4.
Oh,
I thought it was a
soy.
grenade. Oh,
No, that is just dirty. Another C4, another multi-kill as well with that C4 at the very same position as well. Gotta say, this has been what, already 4th or 5th round where we're seeing Soy stably get at least a single kill, if not 2, if not 3.
and yeah, I think the majority of her kills, actually like a good maybe 80% of her kills are actually from C4s. So, you know.
If you can't shoot them, blow them up.
Yeah. Oh, and you know, with her C4s, on average, she gets between 2 to 3 kills at this point. It's quite a good track record. But as it is, it is the round swap over. You know, Forbidden's going on to attack for potentially 1 round if they can clutch this out to get a flawless 7-0. And Queen Bees have their first shot onto defense to really show us what they've been practicing and to show us how tight of a defense they can bring.
Yeah, I'm curious though, how will the lack of Legion would affect the defenses of Queen Bees, given that they, well, Lucky Crystal was not particularly happy about the fact that Legion is off the board. Instead, bringing in the alternative of a Pulse, which is not a bad idea. Again, potentially, if she's able to line up a similar kind of C4 from down below, she could really mess up any plans of Forbidden to go in for a flawless game.
Yeah, if she's able to go for a roam into Sunrise alongside Hotto with those double C4s, they could be looking at netting themselves a few kills if that's where Forbidden chooses to push. You know, a lot of teams do go for a Sunrise clear before they go into hooker, just because they know that they could get C4 below them, which is something you definitely don't want to happen to your team. A little cheeky drone spot comes out from Lucky Crystal, you know, finishing off that drone.
Curious about that reinforcement setup into Hoko. Usually we will be seeing a rotation point at the wall and then maybe a few reinforcements just to hold off some of these shots, but instead it's fully reinforced, so only way to really get in is either through the rotation holes in the pool or in the hookah. But just as I say that already, Diana is on site.
Oh no, this is the Amaru rush.
Oh boy. Actually worked out really well as well, as only now the remainder of Forbidden is actually pushing up. They are not aware about Golden Walkabout's position, which could be very huge here if she can still stay alive. But just as I say that, she goes down. It's all down to Lucky Crystal and Brunek, and with 2 minutes remaining, there's still plenty of times for Forbidden Gaming to take control. Diana is absolutely unrelenting, and now it's all down to Lucky Crystal to try to slow down the onslaught of the Forbidden Legion at this point rather than Gaming.
She still does have a C4 in her pocket. However, Diana on that Amaru with that GA ACOG. Oh no, not ACOG. It wasn't ACOG. Yeah, it wasn't ACOG.
It wasn't ACOG, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Clutching out that round for a flawless win.
Yeah, that is probably the last thing that Queen Bees were really expecting for themselves. As that Amaru rush was probably, that is the prime time for frags. And I mean, look at this, Diana with 14-2 KD ratio, absolutely nuts, and probably the big MVP here by a large margin. Yeah,
and there's something so satisfying about just, you know, instant Amaru rushing onto site, being able to get those 2 initial frags, being like, all right, guys, site's clear, you know, it's all good to come in. It's just a crazy good feeling to especially finish off the last round in such a flawless manner as well.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal scoreline there for Forbidden Gaming, adding yet another dub for themselves and getting just a slight bit closer to even just a slight chance for themselves to get closer to that 3rd place, because contrary to High School League, where it's always seeming to be a contest for that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place, here in Women's League, we have so far a fairly well-established kind of set of 3 teams where it's Exto, Kings Women, and Elevate who are so far the leaders of the leaderboard, whereas the remainder of the teams are so far just battling it out to stay out of those bottom 2 spots, which Forbidden Gaming so far has been able to nail pretty well.
Yeah, and this is definitely a win that really matters, to push them further up on the scoreboard, to get closer to EXO, so that ultimately at the end of the round robin, maybe they'd be able to contend with EXO for that 3rd place, which is definitely something to work for.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Well, for the time being, that's pretty much it for us. So far, for tonight, we have seen 2 very dominant games that so far just pretty much bolstered the general scoreline for the 2 teams. That is the Exto Gaming Aqua and Forbidden Gaming. But there's still 2 more weeks of Women's League round robin season, which does present all of the teams really with plentiful amount of opportunities and plenty of chances for some changes in the leaderboard to happen. So we'll have to see how things will really evolve further down the line. But for the time being, that's it from us. Any kind of final thoughts before we close this out, Pi?
As you said, the games that we watched today were crazy games. There was so much action happening, especially in those few seconds where kills and trades and refrags happened instantly, as well as C4 kills in that last map. It was definitely something to really smile and really hype up during those moments. So I'm so interested to see these moments get recreated further down the round robin track. So I'm just... as you said at the start of the today, I'm quite interested to see how the games are going to progress.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how things will go. But for the time being, that's pretty much all from us. Thanks so much as well to all of you viewers for tuning in. And thank you to all of our sponsors, that is ZQ Racing, that is Quantum Energy Drinks, Ubisoft, and of course, Computer Alliance. But for us, thank you all for tuning in. And from all of us at XP Esports, from casters and the production, take it easy, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
All about you.